Hey, welcome back. It's been another day, and I had an awesome guest contact me, or viewer, if you will, and had a quick chat with me about this series. And that mystery guest happened to be Mr. Dean Brown himself. So, first of all, I'm very honored that he's here and watching. And he and I did get to talk about some of the rules, and there was a few things that we need to clarify. And he wanted to point out, first of all, I actually wrote them down. A bomber group has 48 planes historically, but the game uses 16 strength, where 1 strength equals 3 planes. So when we say we're taking a hit, right? So we're going to loot, if there's 16 hits, then the entire bomber group is eliminated. What that really translates to is 3 planes historically. So that's one of the things that he mentioned. He took the historical number and just simplified it to 16. So that's how the game has that number. The ASW attack. This is where we went and attacked those submarines. He says it's just a die roll. We don't actually do the flight path. So if you remember, when we did the flight path, this plane got attacked by a veteran FW-190 and took 2 damage. So I'm going to remove the 2 damage from this plane because that was not necessary. It's just a die roll, nothing more. Along those same lines, somebody commented in the comment section, and Dean said the same thing. That B17 that has a U-boat advantage, there's actually U-boat pens, which are actual targets that you bomb. So it would have an advantage against those targets. Obviously, we don't have those targets because that would be part of the secondary target deck. But he just clarified that that is separate from the ASW missions, and he's absolutely correct. So, so there's that. The next one is the German commander does not deploy subs every month. So when we rolled those dice to see if the 3 subs get deployed, these U-boats here, 2 of them did get deployed, the 3rd one never did, and that's going to be it. He's never going to get a chance to deploy U-boats for the rest of the game. So it was something he clarified. I thought maybe that triggered every month that he stays, because we roll a die to see if he leaves and gets replaced, right? German command decides to replace him. I thought maybe if the German command decided to keep him, that he would get new subs to deploy. That is not the case. The rules don't clarify that, so I'm really happy to have that discussion with him. That was a very a valuable gem. The bandit for the individual bomber. Okay, so I had these little tokens that I told you I didn't know what they did. And they're for the individual bomber variant, which we're doing. And that's these. So you can see they have an ATA written on them for air-to-air. So what happens is if you pull something out of the cup. So I'm just going to pull some random thing out of the cup. And of course I drew a no bandit. Here we go. I drew this out of the cup. This is what we normally use for air combat, right? Whenever they're intercepting us. So you can see an FW-190 is what type of plane this is. Well, when we're doing the individual variant, we replace this chip with this one. So this is what's going to be used for the attack against our plane. And we would roll, there's a table that rolls what direction he's coming from. And so then we would put him like, okay, he's attacking us from the rear. So I'd put him here to show that he's attacking the rear of the plane, or he's going to attack from the starboard side, etc. So that's what these components are for. And there's 4 different kinds, because there's 4 different types of German planes that could be attacking us. So if it gets that far where a bandit is actually attacking our individual bomber, then that's what those tokens are for. So definitely, we haven't run into that situation yet, but that's the important thing to know. Okay, the next thing is we had mostly cloudy, and our bombers were not able to rendezvous. So if you remember correctly, 2 of our bombers didn't get to participate in the mission. One of the bomber groups that didn't get to participate was our individual bomber. And so I asked him, do I still get to check the box? And the answer was yes. So even though they don't get experience points for the mission, they did at least participate in a mission. So our recruit box gets checked here. And so as this fills in, we go from having a -2 recruit penalty to green, and then we eventually can become an ace pilot or ace crew. So the crew experience did go up. He didn't, flesh it out, but from my conversation, I got that, the thematic part of this is even though we got lost and didn't participate in the mission, we still gained experience from that perspective. So, so we got that. The next question I had for him, he said he had never experienced anybody asking this question, and he admitted that he had no design answer for it. So he left it up to me, although he did lean towards his answer, and that is the bomber group Paradise Lost, which is the group that we're a part of. We're one of the 48 planes, right, that are in there, has this leader, Raper, which has concentrate fire and air-to-ground +2. So I asked him if that air-to-ground +2 applies to the individual bomber. And his answer was, like I said, he had not considered that, and nobody ever asked him. But his initial leaning was, yes, you can apply it. And basically, you're just thematically saying that this leader is flying in your crew. So technically speaking, we would have to, put Mr. Raper, we could probably get rid of Sly Stallone. Sylvester hasn't had a good movie in a long time anyway. So so we can put it in there and replace him with Mr. Raper. But the thing is he could get killed, just like any of the other crew members can get killed, and when he does, we would lose the commander. So that was the other thing that Dean was suggesting, is you can play this out from a role-playing perspective. I mean, our conversation was not very long, and his answers weren't super verbose, but some of this I'm reading into what he was saying, but that was the gist of where he was leaning, is that if you make him a part of your crew, then yes, for sure, you can get the +2 bonus. So we're going to do that. So Mr. Stallone is fired, and we're going to put Raper. I don't like the name Raper, by the way. I hope that's some historical name. Given our political climate these days, I am now saying the word Raper on video, and when I run for president 12 years from now, somebody's going to pull this video out and talk about how I use the word Raper. And it's going to be held against me for the rest of my life. And it's all going to be because somebody designed a board game with the name in it. Okay, so last thing. Oh, no, that was the last thing. I do get to check the mission box. So beyond that, Dean actually told me he thinks that this video is going quite well. So he was thankful for that. And of course, we hope that the mission goes a little bit better this time. Okay, so we are moving on to week 2. So we start the week, and we have to get our weekly SO points. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to move the camera down so you can see what I'm writing. But basically, week 2 is here. Okay, this is mission 1, mission 2. This sheet could be a lot better. It serves its purpose, but no single individual bomber group goes on both missions. So therefore, having a mission 1, mission 2 side by side like that doesn't really do much. But I still make use of it because I put the experience points on the left side and any promotions they get on the right. That's my system. Do what you please. But we're on week 2. So the SO points we had were 6. We didn't spend any, and we're going to get whatever our card says, and our card says 15, but there's still one U-boat out that's going to take away 3 points. So we're going to get 12. So that means we're going to start week 2 with 18 SO points, and that's after taking away what that U-boat took from us. Okay, so in order to satisfy our secondary mission, we need 12. Or we can just buy a plane and then give the plane away, which, by the way, a B17 costs 12, so it's the same 6 or 1/2, unless we're willing to get rid of our other Spitfire, which I don't know we want to do yet. The Spitfires are pretty cool. Okay, so the other thing that you've learned is that the free bombs that cost no SO points, they sort of stink. I mean, you got the incendiary bombs, or do you have the bombs where you need to roll a perfect 10 in order to just get a hit? If you want to start getting some hits in, we need to be able to spend some SO points. The problem is if you spend SO points, it's per bomb. So it gets very expensive fast. And that's where the weekly SO points, I think, can be, you know, like I like to look at them as, okay, I'm going to be buying more and more planes with it. But it's also, you know, it's your only lifeline for being able to afford the bombs that you're going to use. And so that's something, what's the word I'm looking for? It's something that you have to really pay attention to. And for each bomber group participating in the mission, select free bomb types or purchase bomb types with SO points to arm the group and place the bomb counters on the group. Yeah, you have to pay for each one. So very expensive to get the nicer bombs. So my strategy tends to be I rely on the free bombs and the incendiary to, and I use the incendiary to catch it on fire and destroy the factory. Now, the airfields, mind you, don't have any incendiary weakness. So the incendiary bombs don't do anything against airfields. We do have to destroy 10. Now, here's where my mind is, and this is where the logic in all this is. Usually the secondary mission has a lot more targets. This is a very weird situation where we don't have any extra targets because the secondary mission was an odd one. It is consuming a lot of our SO points, but my strategy has been from the beginning that I'm going to grow my empire, meaning I'm going to get more and more bombers into my arsenal, and then I'm going to level them up. And probably one of the mistakes I made is I should have saved 4 SO points for each one and gotten them leveled up quicker. And the reason I'm saying this is when they level up, they get a huge air-to-ground bonus. Well, with a huge air-to-ground bonus, these free bombs all of a sudden become very doable, right? That 8 is easier to hit if you have a +3 air-to-ground bonus, because now you have a 50-50 chance of at least getting one hit. So that's the idea. Is it a great idea? I don't know. That's part of what makes the game great, is you can go back and forth on this. Okay. Oh, the last thing I remember now is that the mostly cloudy was supposed to reduce the response of the Luftwaffe by another 2, but that's okay. That didn't change anything. We're okay. We're okay. All right, so let's start week 2. We have 18 points. I'm going to go ahead and... So what we can do is we can either buy another bomber. We can... This is a tough choice, actually. We don't have to pay the 12 SO until week 4. So this is where we need the 12. Now, you can see this is sort of how I manage my finances. If I know I'm going to owe $1,000 at the end of the month, I set the $1,000 aside now. And that's what I want to do. I want to set aside the 12 points now and just not touch it. And then by the end of the month, I'm going to be I'll have plenty of money. That's the way I like to manage things. But that's not necessarily the best way to handle the game. I think the game's sake is we may want to wait until week 4 before we pay the 12 SO, because right now I think we want to start doing some damage. If we destroy a target, we get 2 experience points. If we get 2 experience points, then we're leveling up our planes. I mean, this is part of my strategy, right? If I'm unable to destroy a target, then I'm not doing diddly. So I only have 3 bombers, because the 4th one is going to go on another ASW mission, because we've got to get rid of that U-boat. Those 3 points are precious. We're basically going to repeat what we just did. I'm going to go after the same exact target. I'm going to go after the same exact sub with the same exact planes. Do we want to buy another Spitfire? No, we don't need to. And I have 18 points, and I think this time around I'm going to load my planes with I'm going to spend some of the SO points to get some better munitions, and let's see how that plays out for us. We did level up our Memphis Belle, which helped. We do have some damage on Memphis Belle, but we're okay. All right, so I know that was long-winded, and I apologize, but that's what this game's about. That's what I like the DVG leader games is they may seem easy to some or lightweight, I guess, but I really think there's a lot of excellent decisions to be made, especially in this game. I've always said that Hornet Leader is my favorite leader game, and it's true. And I think it's largely because I love the way it's 3 games in one. There's the stealth planes, there's the Harriers, and then there's just the normal Hornets. And basically, it's there's also pre-Tomcat and post-Tomcat. And I always say that because the Tomcats are very, they're awesome air-to-air fighters, right? Up until they were obsolete. And then after the Tomcats are gone, you then have to rely on the Hornets to be the air-to-air or to mitigate the air-to-air. And it's 2 different games because in the Tomcat era, which is like the World War III scenario for that, you know, you had the Tomcats, which were air-to-air, min-maxed for air-to-air, and then you had the huge, you know, bombers that had 12 payload that would come in and bomb the crap out of things. Well, you know, those were the old Vietnam era bombers. Well, now everything's, you know, the Hornets, which are versatile, and they can equip air-to-air or bombs, and so the game is very different. And then if you go the Marine route with the Harriers, it's completely different again. And anyways, it's a wonderful game. But this one is a bit heavier, and I think it's wonderful for different reasons. And this is my close number 2. I mean, they're basically neck and neck. So anyways, I can't gush enough about this one as well. Every campaign is so different, and with the way the secondary missions are, I mean, this secondary mission completely surprised me, and we're going in a different direction than I've ever done when I've played this before. You know, this first week with the weather variant, we just had a very awful outcome. So many wonderful things to say about this. And I love the individual bomber variant, which I know does add some complication. But anyways, let's get going here. So I'm going to spend no SO points. We're going to just get going. We do receive weekly SO points. We do SO adjustments. We purchase group and commander. Done. We're not going to do any of those things. Next thing is the morning briefing. All right, so we're going to select the targets to attack. We're going to attack the same exact target, and we're going to use the same exact groups. Nothing's changing. Week 2 is going to look identical to week 1. So now we're going to arm our bombers. This is the one thing that might change. And we also have to decide, we're going to roll for our individual bomber here. And the thing that we're going to roll for, where does my pen go? So our bomber is undamaged, and we're going to roll to see where the bomber position is going to be on the position chart. So I'm going to grab a die, and the position chart is right here. So we do get a -2 because of our skill. We're a recruit still. So we're going to get a -2 modifier to our roll. So I rolled a 5, so we're going to be in the middle, which is actually a much worse position than last time. We would have gotten 2 experience points the last time. Now we're only going to get 1. But we're going to be a little bit more protected being in the middle, so there is some advantage there. Okay, so that's all we need to do for the individual bomber variant for now. We're in the middle for this mission. And let's figure out our payout. So I said I wanted to spend some points. I still want to save, I think, 12 SO points. but that means we could still spend 6. So looking at this, this one is a nice one. You can see you hit on a 4, 6, and 8. So you could hit 3 times potentially. It does take up 3 weight, and it's only 2 SO points. This one you can hit 4 times, but it costs 3 SO points, and it takes a little bit even more weight. So I can buy 2 of these or 3 of those. So that's sort of the challenge here. So what I think I'm going to do, or you even got these which only cost 1, so we could buy 6 of those. They hit on a 5, which is doable. It's much more doable than an 8. I do like these big guys. The beauty here is you could potentially hit 4 times if you roll well enough. I'm going to buy 2 of these. So I'm going to reach into the tray. Let's get 2 of them. They're on the back of the incendiary. And looking at our pilots here, let me make sure you can see what I'm seeing here. This particular pilot right here already has a +1 air to ground, and then this is +2 more. So this is +3 total. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put his full tonnage of 6 and spend the 6 SO points just on that particular pilot. This pilot gets a -1, and this pilot is a +0. And neither of the commanders gives them a bonus. So this is the one that has the big air-to-ground bonus. So we're going to put our big guns here, and then these ones, if they can hit, great, but otherwise they're just coming along for the ride. So let me think about this. Oh, that's right, I need to spend the 6 points. So that puts us to 12. So yes, I am doing exactly like I told you I would do with my finances. I'm sort of holding on to 12 so I can make sure I have enough at the end of the month to pay this in case something comes up. Okay, these are what's going on the mission. So we have 1, 2, 3. These 2 are set off to the side because they're the wing group that we talked about. And then this one will go on an ASW mission again. And remember, we don't have to fly, so that'll make the video a little bit quicker. The Spitfire will go with us again. And I know it's a little off camera, but this Spitfire has 3 damage, but he will come with us. And so let's go ahead and set that up. So when we come over here, the escort's going to fly high. And then we have 3 bomber groups. And I believe we get to choose where they're going to be. So we're going to have the lead bomber group there. And then that'll be 2nd, and that'll be 3rd. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what this I'll look that up in a second. I don't think we randomly select who's going to be up front. I think we get to choose. Let me make sure. It's been a while. Sorry. I know we did this last mission, but I forgot to do this step. All right, so we arm bombers, we display mission setup. Yeah, we get to pick who the lead bomber group is. And so that's not an issue. So that's what we're gonna do. So no worries there. All the numbers that are written on the board, there's a whole bunch of like numbers here. I think what that's saying is that when you have a bandit, you roll a die and it determines whether or not it's going to attack the lead bomber or the second bomber. Like it's determining which one is the bandit going to go after. I'm pretty sure that's what those numbers are for. That's what I'm just making sure. Yes, it's saying it right here. So if a bandit rolled a 4, for example, since we only have 3 bombers or 3 bomber groups, we would use this chart right here. If we have 4 bomber groups, we would use this chart. And then if the whole thing's full, we use this chart on the end. That's what it means. All right, so sorry, I needed to do that for me because I don't like getting things wrong, even though I get things wrong all the time. You guys know me. But I wanted to make sure I got that right. So thank you for the small delay there. Okay, so we got to do our display mission setup as well, which is going to be just like before. We're going to take off A, and then go there. And here's our target. And then here's 3, and then return. And we already know, depending on the Luftwaffe's response, which we'll roll for right now, I rolled a 5. It gets a -2. A couple of things we forgot to do is let's do weather. All right, so the first one is here. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. Stormy. No missions. Okay, give me a second. I think I can spend 6 SO points to skip this. Oh, you know what? I'm doing this wrong. I'm supposed to roll a die. I'm not supposed to just randomly draw from the cup. I'm such a moron. So my apologies, folks. I feel so foolish. There's a freaking chart right in the rule book. Okay, let me go back. This is not a draw from a cup situation, folks. Let me show you. Oh, I'm such a fool. Look at this. Roll a die, and then you get that. Okay, so the stormy weather is only going to happen if I roll 1. Okay, so the red is going to be the UK base, and the blue is going to be where we're going. And the UK base gets a +1 to its die roll, always, always. So red is UK. Here's what's crazy. I rolled a red 1. So it does become a 2, and the other one is a 2. So we have mostly cloudy in both spots. That's awful, just to put it out there. The H2X radar would have helped us in that situation. I can spend 6 SO points to delay the missions for a day, which allows me to re-roll. And I know I just saved the 12, but I'm going to spend the 6 right now. It's part of the reason why I saved the 12 is so I can do stuff like this, but I'm going to spend 6 more. So now we're down to 6 SO points. So we're going to roll again. I had to spend 6 SO points to do this. That was very expensive, by the way. But let's do it, because I want to get this mission succeeded here. And there we go. So this would become a 7. That becomes a 7, and this is a 7. And if we look at the chart, those are both partly cloudy weather situations. Much, much better. I'm just trying to find partly cloudy. I don't think there is a partly cloudy. There's clear. There's mostly cloudy. Oh, partly cloudy is what's already there. So I guess partly cloudy is just base game. There's no modifiers plus or minus. If it was clear, we would actually get a +1 to our air to ground. So partly cloudy is just as if you weren't playing with the variant at all. So yes, I just spent 6 SO points. I think in order to play this variant, Dean put in a design that we would get 10. And I just spent 6 because of this variant hurting me. He did share with me that some folks were telling him that it was too generous, like the 10 SO points was too much. Well, I just spent 6, and so I don't know if it was too much. So far, I've only had a net gain of 4 in my favor here. I do appreciate the extra boost at the beginning, but anyways, back to this. So let's do our mission now. I'm just looking at my variants here, making sure I didn't forget anything like I did in the first video. We're ready to go. So we're on the target bound flight. First thing we got to do is draw an event card. So let's do that. Reduce the Luftwaffe response by 1 level. Well, it's already as poor as it can get, so that was no concern there, but it's still a good card for us. And then we are going to move the mission counter. So we're going to move to 1, and then the Luftwaffe response, of course, is that this one's going to attack us. So we're going to draw one chip, and here we go. We got an FW-190 again. So just like before, actually this is almost identical to the one we had before. I think the last one had a 3 down here, but we have a 2, and so he will intercept, and he does go after us first, or our escort takes him first, and I think I need to clean my my camera lens because it's having a trouble focusing. But okay, so we do have Out of the Sun, which gives us +3 air-to-air, and it also gives us first strike. That was another thing that I missed yesterday. I have Out of the Sun with my leader here. That's why I picked this particular one. He's an awesome Spitfire, comes with this automatically. So the Bandit Intercept +1 just means that if there was, let's say, 6 bandits coming after us, he can only intercept a couple of them. And then the +1, I think, lets him, because he gets to choose which ones he wants to intercept, but he still has to roll a die to see if he succeeds. So that just adds to that die roll. But the Out of the Sun, it does give him a +3 air-to-air, but it also must be played by the fighter group on the first Axis fighter attack turn. The fighter always attacks first. It's fast and gets a +3. And it affects all Axis fighters. So we get to go fast, meaning we get to go first. So let's go ahead and roll. Our air-to-air bonus is +2, +3 more. So we actually get a +5 bonus. And I rolled a 3, which is a crappy roll. So we only rolled an 8, so we missed. And we didn't even roll an 8, we rolled a 7 because he has a 1 here. So now he gets to attack us, and he rolled a 9. Of course he did. So he did 3 hits on us. So that's really, really bad. We're up to 6 hits now on our Spitfire. We are still not shaken. And just to be a purist, that was the first attack round. So now we're moving to... So 1 attack round is finished. That's what that means. So now we're starting the second attack round. And he has a 2 here, which means that he's going to do 2. So we still get to go fast. Or don't we? I think we do. So anyways, that 5 plus 5 would be a 10. However, he has an armor of 1, so it becomes a 9. We missed him again. So now he attacks us. He rolls a 2 and he misses us. So then we finished the second round. So now we're starting the third, and this 2 matches that 2, so he flies away. That's how that plays out. So he did damage to our Spitfire. We didn't do any damage to him. We got close, but no cigar. All right, so then as you can see, the airfield gets set to a 1, and then we're going to go over target. Remember, there's a special rule that when we're over target, this does not refresh. None of the airfields refresh. So we get to over target, and now it's time to deal with this intercept. So this one will be intercepting us as well. But before I do that, I forgot my variant. So let me grab, so I got an escort -4 here. So this is bad for us. So here, I'll show you in a second. So right here, you can see if we have 7 damage, we become shaken. And if we have 10 damage, or if we have more than 10 damage, we're not even allowed to participate in the mission. We have 6 damage because we had 3 from the previous week, and then we got 3 more just now. And then this optional variant that we're playing just gave us 4 more. So 10, we're basically at 10 damage. We're at the shaken status here, and just 1 more damage, and we're not going to be able to participate in the mission anymore. Now, the good news is that we could still engage. We're not going to engage any more fighters on the way back, so the bombers don't need an intercept. So anyways, we're very close to not even being able to participate. This, of course, as I explained yesterday, this is a temporary thing. It's not actual damage. It just represents 4 of the fighters had to fly back for whatever reason. So here's what we drew. We drew the veteran pilot. So this is an awful time to get it. I'm just going to put it right here because we already know that the Spitfire is going to engage it, not the bombers. So just 1 more hit and we're done. We only get a +1 instead of a +2. We do get this +3, so we still get a +4. So, but he has 2 armor, so we're going to need to roll an 8 or better in order to be able to destroy him. And we do get to go fast because we have Out of the Sun. And right there is a 9. Holy cow, I am a good roller. So, oh, he has Out of the Sun. So his Out of the Sun cancels our Out of the Sun. Oh, that changes things. That changes things. The 2 Out of the Suns cancel each other out. So he gets to go first because we're slow. So I'm going to roll for him. And I rolled a 7. We took 1 damage, and we're now out of the battle. So so we have to fly away. We're done. And so this now is going to engage one of the other fighters. So we've, yeah, all kinds of things are happening to me in this game that never happened. All right, so we finished 1 round of fighting. This bandit did damage, and then he had to fly home. This is disengaging because he's not able to participate in the mission anymore due to damage, and the some of them flew home. So now this FW-190 has to engage for the next 2 turns one of our bomber groups. So I'm going to roll and compare to this chart. So I rolled a 3, and it says he's attacking the lead. So he's going up against the lead bomber group. Now here's what's crazy. The lead bomber group is our individual bomber group. So, so now we got to come over to here. And let me show you. There is a chart here to see whether or not the bandit's going to attack the bomber. Let me zoom in for you here. So it's right up here. 1 to a 7 means no, he's not going to attack us. And 8 or more means yes, he will attack us. Now we are in the middle of the group. We're not in the front. So if we were in the lead position, we would have gotten a +3. And the lead position means within our group. We're in the middle. So we don't get any bonuses to our rolls. We're not damaged. But it is 1942. So it's actually, we're going to get a -2 to the roll. So basically, they're not going to really go after us. But let's roll, see what he gets. Oh, we rolled a 10. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we rolled a 10. It's 1942, so we subtract 2, we get an 8. He is attacking our individual bomber. Oh my gosh, I don't think we want this. All right, so he's attacking our individual bomber. He's an FW-190 veteran pilot. And the cool thing is that there is no such thing as a veteran pilot in the individual bomber variant. So here it is. Here's our FW-190. So now we're going to find out which angle is he coming from. So I rolled a 2. So he's going to attack us from the rear. So he's coming in this way, like that. Okay. So that's the situation. Parents are going away on a week's vacation. All right, so now we, so if attacking, roll in bandit direction chart, determine the direction. Then we have to roll in the fast chart. So here's a fast chart. So here we're going to see, are we going to be able to attack first? I rolled a 1. We are by sure not going to attack first. So bandit's going to attack us. The bandit hits us on a 6 or better. So big bucks, no whammies. We do have concentrate fire, which does what again? Oh, we get a +2 air-to-air combat modifier. Awesome. So he rolled a 2, which is awesome. He needed a 6 or better to hit us, so he missed. So now we get to attack him with a 7 or better. We hit him. Now we get a +2 because of our concentrate fire commander, Mr. Raper. And so we have a 5 + 2 is 7. And do we have to take a -2 because of our, let me check. So if bandit hits bomber, roll in hit damage chart. If crew member is killed, Roll the air-to-air attack using appropriate ADA box. If hit, remove the bandit. Okay, there is no modifier here. The fact that we're a recruit changes, you know, this over here or that over there, but right here it's pure straight up 7. So our rear gunner, who's the rear gunner? Oh yeah, it's John McClane. Yippee-ki-yay! Sorry, I enjoy this role-playing stuff way too much. Yippee-ki-yay! We nailed him. So we destroyed the FW-190. We get an experience point for that. So we get to add 1 right now to our experience pool. Sweet daddy. And the bomber group itself gets an experience point. So I'm going to take out our sheet, and Paradise Lost gets 1 experience point for that kill. And the veteran is destroyed. So remember, this game started with 5 veterans. It's sort of a little cheap because we didn't have to deal with his armor or anything, but he's out of the game. Doesn't come back. So we took out a veteran pilot. I wish we got like bonus experience or something for it, but I don't think we do. But we do. We get the... I'm just checking, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, remove the bandit counter, get an experience point. That is awesome. So, and then we're going to get an experience point for being in the middle of the pack at the end of the mission. The other thing is we would get... it's just really good all around. I'm very happy with that. So, oh, sorry, I was going to sneeze there. Okay, so this was crazy. You can play a whole campaign and not have your individual bomber get attacked like this. And that happened right here on week 2. Okay, so I hope you're appreciating this individual bomber variant. I really enjoy it. It just adds another level of excitement to the mission. We gained our... Oh, I know what I was trying to do. We destroyed another bandit, so this goes to 2. Okay. We are over the target. So let's do what the over the target step is. So there was no previous target damage, so we don't have to worry about that. The target gets to do flak attack. So I used to watch this YouTube channel. There's this guy called... it's Slack Attack, because his name is Slack. He does a lot of Far Cry video game videos, and he does some Fallout ones. He's super thorough. I mean, he's totally insane. I don't know how he gets the time to play the games he plays. But his name is Slack, Sergeant Slack or something like that. And His videos are called Slack Attack. I always think of that. So there's a plug for him. He does do what he does for money. So I'm sure I'll never get any kickback for that. But he's insane. He finds every secret thing in all the games. But anyways, we have to do the flak attack. So the the flak roll is just one die. And then on a 7 it hits, and on a 9 it hits twice. So I won't worry about which bomber he's attacking yet. Let's just see if he hits. We rolled a 9, which is a hit. Now, it looks like it would hit twice, but it's only going to hit once because all of our bombers have 1 durability, so that becomes an 8. So let's figure out which one he's hitting. A 1 to 4 is the lead, etc. So I rolled a 5, so that's the second bomber in the group, which is the 305th. And you can see it's right here on the chart. So we're just following this chart to determine which one was hit. It was this one. So he hit that one. So that's another damage. We actually already had 1 damage on Memphis Belle. Or no, it wasn't Memphis Belle. It's the Grim Reaper that took the damage. So we have 1 damage on Grim Reaper. Okay. So now we're going to drop some bombs. And I forgot to put my bombs on these two. I apologize so much, but it's going to be like we did before. We're going to put 2 incendiary on Memphis Belle, and then everything else is going to be this. So 1 of these on Memphis Belle and 3 of these on Grim Reaper. So I'm just going to set it down here just to remind ourselves. Okay, so let's do the less dramatic ones, or the ones that we're not sure are going to hit at all. Let's do the incendiary drop. Memphis Belle. So as you can see here, Memphis Belle needs a 7 to put it on fire. Memphis Belle gets a -1 to his air to ground roll. So we need an 8 or better. And I'm rolling 2 dice. And right there it is. I got an 8 right here and a 7. Now if I would have hit with both of them, it would have had no net gain effect. I only needed 1 of them to hit. So Memphis Belle just dropped us 2 incendiaries, and it's on fire. Oh, come on, it's here somewhere. Right here. So we do this kind of damage. It doesn't actually damage anything, but it's now on fire. And so we put this on the target. And I'm going to move the target over here into the camera view. So right there, it's now incendiary. Oh crap, I forgot something. These variants are going to kill me. I forgot to do recon. So let's do that real quick. I would have recon this one, and I would have recon the one at location 11. So let's do the recon for this one. I rolled a 6, okay? Now, this one was already a medium intel, and I get a +2, so that 6 becomes an 8, which means it stays as a medium intel, so it's not enough to change. So nothing changes here. And then for the 11, I rolled a 4, which is not enough to change anything. So 11 stays at low intel. So nothing happened with our recon. I need to put those somewhere where I don't forget. Actually, I'm going to put them right on our checklist, our step-by-step checklist, right above pre-flight here. That'll help remind us to do that. Okay, so with that being said, the medium intel for this target is +0 air to ground, +0 flak. So we're okay there. If it was low intel, then there would have been maybe an advantage. Okay, so we did the 2 incendiary. Now we have 1 final of these. I need an 8 to hit. I get a -1, so I need a 9 or a 10. And I rolled a 7, so it's not enough. So Memphis Belle misses. Okay, now we're going to go to Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper can roll 3 dice. And Grim Reaper gets a +0. So we just need an 8 or better to hit, because Grim Reaper has 3 of these M30s. So let's, I hope you can see, this is a 4, which is a miss. This is a 6, which is a miss. But we did get a 9, so we got 1 hit on the target. I know, this is slow going and brutal. But 1 hit is on the target. So we need 12 to destroy this target. Oh, look, right here. Oh, I missed that. Air to ground +1. Air to ground +1. What did we roll? When we rolled from Memphis Belle, it doesn't matter. Incendiary was successful. But for the roll where I said I needed a 9 or a 10, did I roll an 8, for example? I don't think I did. I think Memphis Belle legitimately missed. But this one, that 9 becomes a 10, which means we did 2 hits. And then these two still miss, because I need to get it to an 8. But this becomes a 10, which is 2 hits. So let's see if this flips over. It does. So we did 2 hits on it. So we need to remember that. Wow, I almost forgot that. I so apologize. Okay, so now we're going to go to Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost, by the way, our individual bomber doesn't actually, quote, bomb the target. So we're just a part of this group. And so I'm just double checking, making sure that what I just said is true. It's true. So we're not, quote unquote, bombing. Now, the one thing we do is our lead, if we are the lead of the group, which we're not, but if we were, then we have an air-to-ground bonus that we apply to the group. But we don't have to worry, because since we're a recruit, we're never going to be lead. We always get a -2 penalty to that check. So here's our situation. A 3 hits, a 5 hits twice, a 7 hits 3 times, and a 9 will hit 4 times. So we already get a +1 here, +2 there, that's +3, right? And then this is +1, so that's +4. So even if I roll a 1, I'm going to add 4 to my roll, and I'm going to get a minimum of 5, even if I have the crappiest roll ever. So a minimum of 5 is going to be 2 hits. So now maybe you can appreciate why I put these bombs on this particular bomber. I totally wasn't even aware of the +1 on the location. That's just pudding on the cake there. But so we're going to do a minimum of 4 hits to this sucker. So it's going to go up to 6 hits, which, as you can see here, is the threshold for medium. We have to do at least 3 hits to get light damage on him, 6 hits to get medium, 9 for heavy, and then 12 destroys. Okay, so we're going to get it up to a medium damage, which in the early game, to be able to partially damage something is good. It's really hard to just destroy a target outright. That's the one thing that's different about this game versus like a Hornet Leader. And I think it's pretty cool because this is World War II, so you didn't have the precision striking like you do with the Hornets. So anyways, I'm babbling. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 2 dice. It doesn't matter which one's which. So we're going to roll 2 dice for this, and if we can get something big, we get to always add +4 to our die roll. So in order to get 9, we need at least a 5. So we have a 50% chance of doing maximum damage with both of these bombs. Let's see it work. All right, so I got an 8 and a 4. Okay, I'm happy. I'm quite happy with this. So the 8 plus 4 is 12. So that means we did a maximum of 4 damage. So this 2 becomes a 6, wherever a 6 is. Okay. And that resolves the 8. And then this 4 becomes an 8, which means 3 more damage. So now it goes up to 9. So we just did 9 damage to this sucker. All right. So we're done. All of our bombs are dropped. There's nothing left for us here. But hopefully you'll agree that that was actually a pretty good run. And I'm looking at the checklist here. Homebound flight. We got to draw the homebound event card. So let's do that right now. Reroll the Luftwaffe response and add +3 to the roll. So I rolled a 3. +3 would be a 6, but we still do a -2 because of the scenario, so it's still poor. So as much as the game tried. We did not get destroyed there. Okay, so before we start heading home, we got one final thing we need to do. We have to resolve the incendiary damage. So as you can see, we did 9 damage to it, which translates into this. The 9 is the third number there, so we have a heavy damage to the target. Okay, now what does this reduced mean? What that reduced means is, see how this says supply of 2? We take the supply marker, one of them, and we flip it over to its reduced side. So now this is only going to produce 1 supply for the Germans. Okay, now the incendiary, if I roll a 6, I'm going to do a 1 roll, just 1 die. If I roll a 6, I'm going to change this heavy to a destroyed, because basically the building's on fire and some kind of munitions blew up, and so the damage to the factory is going to escalate up a notch, just 1 notch. But 1 is all I need because I've already done heavy damage to it. If I were to roll an 8, it would actually up it by 2 notches. So the 6 or better is good. We only need 1 notch here. So 6 or better is pretty decent, right? Let's try it. Let's find out. There it is. That's 9 damage, or that's a 9. So this heavy, because of the incendiary bomb, we now destroyed the target completely. That is how the incendiary devices can be very helpful, especially in the early game when you have something like Memphis Belle, which isn't very good at dropping bombs. And it's a freebie, right? These are freebies. So that's why we went after this as our first target. Okay, so the medium intel marker goes away. These go away. And we officially destroyed this target. So first thing you do is this supply marker goes away. We destroyed one of the supplies. And then what we do is we grab a build marker. So the Germans need to rebuild that factory. So the build marker is now going to go onto the September spot. So in September, they're going to rebuild 1 factory. Okay, and then this is worth 2 victory points. Okay, we can log that in our log. What I like to do is I just like to keep the card. I set the card off to the side and I keep it so we know we have 2 victory points. And the more important thing is, no, we got to fly home first. So let's fly home. So now we're going to move our mission counter to here, but there's no Luftwaffe response. And then these would refresh, but then we move home and then the mission's over. So it was smooth sailing from there. Okay, so now what's going to happen? We get back to the base, and we have to give ourselves the victory points and experience points. So, so what you can see here is that we destroyed the target. So there's many ways to represent this, but really for week 1, we got ourselves 2 victory points. And then what I like, sorry, here we go. Then what I like to do is I write the 2 below it to show that that's my cumulative total. So, if I get 2 more here, then I would change, this would be a 4, right? And then every bomber group that participated, like Grim Reaper, gets 2 experience points for that. Memphis Belle gets 2. Paradise Lost gets 2. You get 1 for participating in the mission, 2 for destroying the target. And then the Spitfire group gets 2. The only thing that doesn't get any is Little Abner. Now, Little Abner is going to do the ASW mission, and so they're going to get 1. Actually, they get 1 if they destroy the sub, so I got a little preemptive there. Little Abner is going to roll, and I rolled a 1. So we failed to destroy the sub again. So I'm going to get rid of that experience point there. Actually, I should have asked Dean, do I get experience points for these? And I don't know if I do. I mean, I participated in a mission. It didn't destroy the target. So do I get 1? Do I get 2? Do I get 0? I would assume you get something. I'm going to give myself 1 and then let Dean correct me. Ask for forgiveness later. All right, so we had a pretty successful day 2, except for the U-boat thing. So now we got to do promotions. I'm just looking at the mission debriefing here to make sure I didn't miss anything. Record the group status, aircraft factory target steps, airfield target steps. Yeah, okay. So a couple of things. First of all, our individual bomber, we flew in the rear, or I'm sorry, in the middle of the group. So we get 1 experience point per this table here. So we're up to 3 experience points now. And that's enough to upgrade something again. So we could possibly do, upgrade some of our things. I'm going to upgrade the lead air to ground. So I'm going to give, see, it's really hard to determine how I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to do a +1 like that. So this would mean that I'm now at a -1 net. I need a better way to represent that, but I'm going to spend an experience point on this. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I probably should have used a pencil. That, I think, was the best way to play this. The next thing is let's check for promotions. So we have our Spitfire here who needs 5. He currently has 3, so no promotion there. Little Abner needs 2 and has 2. So Little Abner is going to lose the experience points and get promoted to green. So we're going to take this off, and this is going to get flipped over to green, and its air to ground at least has no penalty now, so that's helpful. And then let's keep going. Paradise Lost needs 7, only has 3. Memphis Belle needs 5. This one counts as a 2, so it really only needs 3, and Memphis Belle has 3. So Memphis Belle is leveling up again. This commander is quite awesome, plus the 2 experience per level. So this green commander now becomes an average commander. And just to compare, you can see that the air to ground -1 is now a +0, and the air to air went to +2. So he's finally becoming a decent bomber group. I don't think the other numbers changed all that much. The formation forms easier. Anyways, that's good. So Memphis Belle is already an average group. Then Grim Reaper needs 5 and only has 2. So that's the situation there. And just get her. Okay, so if I come back down to here, show you the chart. Here's my pilots. The experience points that I have are still the hash marks. I cross out the ones after they get promoted, and then I'm just listing when they got promoted. So in week 2, 2 pilots got promoted, and that's it. We have 2 victory points right now. We still need to destroy 10 aircraft fields. We destroyed a factory. We didn't destroy a field. So keep that in mind. We need more bombers. That's what we need. We need more bombers so we can go on 2 missions a week. That's our big issue right now. So I'm going to grab this just to give you an idea. This starts with 96 SO points. We started with 50. So if you just look, this one's 100 SO points. So you're going to be able to get a lot more bombers in the other missions. So one of the things about this 1942 is you just don't start with enough bombers to do 2 missions per week. Now, with you getting 15 a week as reinforcements, or weekly SO points, you actually can arguably get a second bomber wing going. It takes time. And that's why I was complaining about having to spend 12 points because of our secondary mission. That's actually slowing us down a lot, but it's okay. We are at the end of week 2. At this point, the target would repair. So that heavy damage target, let me grab that. If we would have failed to destroy this target and it was sitting at heavy damage, we would have done a repair roll. And on a 6+, he would have gone from heavy down to medium. I'm pretty sure he just goes 1 notch. Yeah, this factory would actually start repairing itself. And then we would have to come back and bomb it again to finish it off. So the fact that the incendiary did that, we didn't even have to do this roll. And so that saves us. But that's one of the end of the week tasks that you normally have to do. So let me get this put away, and then let's put this back up and come back over here. So we're moving on to week 3 for August. So here's the thing. I could choose not to pay the 12 points until September, because I can actually let this move over to here in September, and then at the end of September pay the 12 points. So I can really stretch this out. Because here's the advantage. By not getting another secondary target, secondary targets, if you don't succeed at the mission, you can actually get a penalty. So by not having a secondary target right now, with us not having an ability to do 2 missions a week, that's actually not a bad thing. So anyways, that's something to consider. I may not need those 12 points as quickly as I keep saying. But yeah, we're going to start week 3 in the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. I apologize for the rocky start with the variants, and we're getting the rules right. You know, we're getting it. The game is being played. It's just, you know, I'm not necessarily remembering at certain times. But this week I think went much more smoothly, and it's just going to keep getting smoother from here on out. And I hope that this helps those of you who are trying to learn this game. I think the big thing is you may be watching and you ran into a secondary target situation that's different, right, or unique. And I'm not going to be able to show you how to handle it because I'm not experiencing it right now. So let's keep playing and see how this campaign goes. And I might do several campaigns. I think we definitely want to do a month end because there's a lot of fun stuff that happens at the end of the month. All right, I'm going to stop rambling. Stay awesome.